Hi. How are we doing, everybody? It's Friday. It's been such a long time since I did one of these. It's been a few months, hasn't it? Well, it's just been such a busy time for us here at NUX, and it felt like the right time to get back on live and show you guys what we're working on today, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to be taking you through the brand new core pedals here. You can see it there on my floorboard, and you can see I put my Van Halen shoes on here, and I am going to be looking at all that. Yeah. Okay. So I see everybody seeing. Can you guys hear? Can you guys hear my voice? Please let me know if you can or not. I would appreciate it so much. And yes, I am using some fancy new lights. I'm actually in a different part of the studio room today. Normally I do everything over by the desk, but today I felt, why the heck not? And this is a Govee light curtain, and it's very cool. I'm enjoying it immensely. But in any case, yeah, so today's going to be really exciting because I've set up some really good camera shots for everything, and the volume is fine, good. Thank you very much for letting me know. We're going to go through each pedal bit by bit, and I've even got a nice sub pedal board right here. You can kind of see it here, and I've got a camera from my iPhone that's pointing down, so I'll be able to do a little picture-in-picture action and show you how each pedal works individually, and then we'll put it back on the board here below and show you what it's all about. So I think this is going to be a really cool interactive session. If you have questions, use the comment section, use the live chat section. If you're watching this on Facebook, if you're watching this on YouTube, we are having a little bit of a technical glitch today, so I can't call out specific questions like I normally do. Still trying to figure out why that's happening. But that's okay, because I'll still be able to scroll through and answer questions as I see them. And when we get to that part of the live stream today, that's what we'll do. So yeah, I am using some new lights today. Maybe we'll have a little fun with it later. I can show you what these Govee things do, because it is actually a lot of fun to do all of this. But in any case, the volume's a little too low. Well, I'm trying to do the best I can with that without it freaking out. So my best suggestion is just turn up your volume on your turn up the volume on your phone or your computer as much as you can. I listened to it earlier. It seemed to be pretty good, but again, I'm using a different mixing console today. I'm using a Behringer mixing console. Normally I use my Zoom, and it's there's some things I like about this and some things I don't. So when it comes to working with this particular microphone, the B10 Vlog, it doesn't seem to be liking that too much. But I still get a pretty decent voice out of pretty good volume out of everything. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun today. So anyway, a couple quick things before we get started. First and foremost, this is an opportunity for you guys to learn about our products, and I'm going to take you through each one of the new core pedals. And wait till you see the Loop Core Stereo. It's really cool. So what I mean by all of that is, if you came here to throw shade, or whatever they're saying these days, if you came here to be a jerk, go find another channel to go watch, please, because we don't like that here. We like to help everybody, and that's why we do these live streams, or why I do these live streams, really. But if you came here to be a cool guy or girl and ask some questions, I'm here to answer those questions. I've been on the road for the last couple weeks showing these pedals, and everybody has just been going absolutely gaga over it. So I really do hope you enjoy this as much as I do, because this is really what makes it for me. So let's go ahead and, oh, actually, Chris, you were asking about who does the intro music. The intro music is, it was something I grabbed off of YouTube. So if you're watching it on Facebook, it may not show it. It's one of those things. But anyway, okay, enough of that. Let's take a look down below here. Okay, so we are going to be looking at, I also have the touch portal thing here. It's very cool. We have the metal core, which I'm going to talk about first. We're going to go to the mod core. Then up here we have the time core Deluxe Mark II. We have the Verb Core Deluxe. We've never done a reverb in this form factor before, so I think you'll enjoy that. And then we also have the brand new Loop Core Stereo. Now, we've actually been shipping that one for a little bit, but we blew right through the first shipment as soon as it showed up. And it has been, it's been a real treat to get to know it. And there's going to be several videos that I'm going to have to plan around the Loop Core Stereo, because just doing it here in the live stream is not going to do it justice, because it is a very deep pedal. It's not just like just what it was before in the original version of the Loop Core. Now it has MIDI functionality, and that really does require a lot more in-depth explanation as to how we map all that stuff out and make all that work. But before I get ahead of myself, let's start making something happen here. So let's see what we got. Okay. So do I see everything going on? Yeah. Okay, a good question was asked here before I get started. If I ask a question with your name and it doesn't show up highlighted, I don't know, Chris. I'm kind of working through this one right now. So what I have is a separate window where I can go in and scroll through and try to find those questions and try to answer them. So we'll do that when the time is right to do so. So without further ado, let me go to my pedal switching screen here. Isn't that cool? Go down here and grab my metal core. Now I'll have you know, I defunkified this before I defunkified this pedal before I put this video together, because I didn't want you guys seeing the dust and everything, because I figured that probably wouldn't be a whole lot of fun to look at. Let's see, what I need now is I need my wireless system. I am using my C5RC. If you guys haven't used that before, it's a lot of fun. And I think that's going to do it. So let's go ahead and switch cameras. Okay, so I can see comments. So if you have any questions, keep that way. Keep asking those questions, and I promise I will answer them. So if you can see everything, please let me know. Here's the Metal Core Deluxe Mark II right here, and probably you were hearing that too. It's because I was using the C5RC. I'm going to plug this into my guitar in a second. But what I want to do first is take you through the ins and outs of what this pedal is all about. Okay. Okay, cool. So I see some questions are coming in. Please keep them coming, and I will answer questions as I see them. Okay? Yeah. All right, great, awesome. Let's go back over to the right page here. Here we are. Okay, so here is the Metal Core Deluxe Mark II. Now, what's different about the Metal Core Deluxe in this particular version? Well, a lot actually, because the original Metal Core had just simply had like one sound to it, honestly. And there were 2 amps in there, or 2 Sims in there, but this one goes a big distance further, because in this one we've given you 3 high gain amplifiers, and we've given you 3 impulse responses that match these high gain amplifiers. Okay, so you have the amp and you have the cabinet all in one. So this is honestly a powerful solution for amp, just for going ampless when you want to just record right into an audio interface. It's no problem at all. Let's go through the interface though really quick. Okay, so up here at the top we have our bass, our middle, and our treble. Obviously that's our EQ section. We have a gain and we have a master. Okay, seems pretty straightforward, and that's a good thing. We also have our toggle switch here, and the toggle switch is used to go between the Duo rectifier, the Friedman, and a diesel. So you get 3 of the good, strong, high gain heavy metal pedals out there, or heavy metal amps out there. And you have 3 impulse responses that match that as well. But it does get even better, because it does auto-save the presets, and I'll talk about all that in a second. It does get even better because there is an editor for the Metal Core Deluxe Mark II. So you can use this editor to edit it on your desktop, and you can also use an on-the-go connection and download the app for your iOS or Android device, and you can make changes at the gig if you want to. So if you're playing and you listen to it and you're like, well, I need to make a change here at the show, yeah, you can do that with the on-the-go device in the editor, which is fantastic. But everything you see here can more or less be replicated on the pedal without having to actually use the editor, with the exception of loading up a different impulse response. But as you can see here, there are 3 impulse responses that are included. You get your dual rectifier 412. That's cool. You have the Friedman 412, and you also have the Diesel 412. But you have slots 4 through 8 that can be populated with your own impulse responses. And I might even show you a little bit about that when we use it here on the board. But that's one of the really cool things about it. There's also a noise gate on here. And the noise gate can be accessed by way of the editor if you want to. Oh my, Christopher, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope your car doesn't get flooded. Oh my. Okay, well, in any case, I will, I hope all that works out okay. Okay, but let me get back to this. So we have a noise gate built in with a threshold and a decay. And that actually is controlled by the gain and the master when you don't have the pedal connected. So for example, if I go back over here and I want to go into edit mode here, or I want to edit the noise gate, I just simply press and hold. Okay, and you can see that the light's flashing and I can make changes and I turn it back on and now I'm back to normal. But what we need to do at this point is actually put on a guitar so you can hear this. Now, I did decide that the right thing to do would be to use a high gain pickup, since we're using a high gain amp, which is what this is all about. So let me grab my fancy stuff here. Okay, let me throw on my headphones. I heard something through the headphones. Okay, well that sounds good, but something's awry, isn't it? Something isn't quite making sense. Well, I did that on purpose because I wanted you to see what this is all about. Right now, what you're doing is you're hearing the pedal by itself without the impulse response. So I haven't even turned that on yet. Okay, so to do that, again, these are some of those secondary features that I always love about our products. So to turn off and on the impulse response section, all you have to do is hold down the foot switch as you turn it on, as you plug it in, I should say, and it'll blink. In that case, it blinked green. If you do it again and it blinks red, that means it is disengaged. So let's turn that impulse response back on. Boom, there it is. Okay, I promise I didn't mean to say boom, there it is. Well, I know it's whoomp, there it is, but you know, boom goes the dynamite, as the other saying goes. Anyway, let's turn that back on. Let's bring the guitar back in. Now that sounds a little better, doesn't it? So let me turn off the mic. So that's just kind of like a little quickie there. But let's go ahead and make some adjustments here. So I'm going to start with the dual rectifier up here at the top. There we go. Sometimes that B string on this guitar gets a little wanky. Okay, good stuff. So let's go ahead and make some adjustments. So here's the gain, here's the master. So isn't it amazing though that even though this is a high gain amp, when you still play an entire chord, it still sounds really good. So we can work with the gain a little bit on that, but let's make a couple of adjustments to the EQ. You're right, buddy. That is chunky. Chunky. Me likey. Chunky amps. Okay, let me kill the. Oh, actually, we want to filter out that noise, don't we? A little bit. Okay, so let me show you how to use the noise gate. Press and hold. Make your adjustments. So So we want the release to be, yeah, so something like that. Okay, press it again, and now we're back to square one. Let me go ahead and kill the mic. Okay, so there is the dual rectifier. Let's move over to the Friedman. Make some adjustments. Now it has auto saving, so as you make these adjustments, and then you want to toggle back and forth between the 3 amps, anything that you did previously should be saved, so when you toggle back and forth, it should volume match no matter what. But I love the Friedman. I do love this one. And don't get me wrong, I love Mesas as well. But this does sound really nice. Okay, there we go. So let me go ahead and kill the mic, and I'll play a few chords for you. So I should mention, I'm not a metal player, okay? If that isn't blatantly obvious at this point, I am not that guy. But that's okay. We don't have to shred. I mean, it's nice when you shred. But truthfully, I haven't shredded since I was about 16, so. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we're on the diesel. Make a couple of adjustments here. Now we do have to obviously go through the whole, we have to go through 5 pedals, so we are going to abbreviate some of this, but now you know pretty much what it's all about. You got those 3 high gain amps, those 3 matching cabinets. You can load your own cabinets in. I will show you what that sounds like in a second, but let's just kill the mic and hear the diesel. Now, I know somebody is going to probably say, in the comments later, after the video is over, whoa, you weren't in tune. Hey, you know what? It's live video. You get what you get, okay? But just to go back to my other point here about using this as just a straight ahead distortion pedal without using the impulse responses, let me give you an idea of what that's like. Okay, so I've got my pedal here again. I'm going to go ahead and unplug it. I'm going to hold down the foot switch as I plug it in, and bada bing bada boom. We now are in. We're now bypassing the impulse response. So if I turn this on and turn the mic back, the guitar back on, now it sounds like Crunch City, which actually doesn't sound half bad. But you do need to put some space in there. And so what I'm using up here, it's off camera, you can't see it, is I have a Pulse IR loader. Now I'm using, of course, the very wrong cabinet for this. I'm using a Bassman. That's not the right one to use. So I'm going to use a Greenback 412, and you get something that sounds something like this. And of course, you use a little bit of the space in there too. If you guys haven't used the Pulse, it's a really great pedal. It's very underrated. I've been on a big Bad Company kick lately. But that greenback 412 sounds really nice. We also have a vintage 412. That sounds like a little bit more kind of old school Megadeth if you want. Especially if you go to the Friedman. So if we go to actually let's go back to the dual rectifier here and just do a little bit of fun here. And turn off the reverb or the space parameter here. Obviously, as I said, not a metal player, but I appreciate a good distortion, just like the next guy. All right, so there you go. That is the Metal Core Deluxe Mark II. Let me go ahead and kill the guitar here for a second. But that's what it's all about. Let me get rid of my headphones here. So I have to switch pedals, but I also have to switch guitars because I have my Steinberger and I happen to like that a little better for demo purposes. But I figured if you're going to be demonstrating a metal pedal, you better use high gain pickups, and that's exactly what my Explorer has. It has a high gain pickup on the bridge position, so it sounds really good for that kind of usage. But what we need to do now is we need to change. So we're going to go from the Metal Core, which was down here, and we're going to bring up the Mod Core here and show you what that's all about. So why don't I go ahead and go into pedal switch mode here, so we can see, so you don't have to see what's going on behind the scenes, because it makes no sense to look at me doing this, frankly. You're not doing yourselves any favors. You're just going to see me messing around with all this stuff here. Okay, good. So let me bring up the Mod Core here. Now this is the Mod Core Mark II, Mod Core Deluxe Mark II. And I have to tell you, this one is pretty substantial, guys. It is a lot of fun to work with. Okay, so let's see. Return. This one's the way I'm showing this one's a little more complicated. So bear with me here. I am just getting everything set up so we can show you what's going on. Again, let's keep those questions coming, guys. I promise I will answer every question that I possibly can. Let me get the receiver on. There we are. Okay, hi. Well, I didn't mean to actually go to there, but now you see what's going on behind the scenes when I do these things. Let's see what's going on out there. We see people out there. Everybody's out there. Hello, everybody. Quicksilver, I saw your question. Any news about a modulation pedal for the Verdugo series? I do not have any information at this time. I can tell you guys that there's a lot of stuff on the horizon. So, just stay tuned. There's going to be a new wireless product coming for guitar in this season. There's going to be a couple of other amp products that are going to come out, and next year there are a lot of plans for new products as well. We're always constantly innovating. When I do my road show, when I do the whole road show thing and I go out there and I show everybody what we do and all that, I always make mention of the one word that really defines the brand, which is innovation. That's really what it is all about. But anyway, okay, back to our regularly scheduled program here. So the Mod Core back in its day when this came out was one of the most popular pedals that we had in the Core series. And we've really taken it up a notch. Sorry, I'm going to Boston on Monday here, so I'm just making some Boston jokes. But in any case here, my accent's terrible, I know. But we have our rate knob, we have our depth knob, we have the tweak knob, and this adjusts the amount of modulation. And then we have the different types of well, that's, there we go. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Sorry, guys, I'm making a couple adjustments here. Okay, there we go. And then we have the different types of modulation. We have 8 different types here. So you have your stereo chorus, chorus ensemble, SCF chorus. That's the TC Electronic SCF. So you guys might know the mini SCF mini core pedal we do, all three of those modulation types are here. So you've got your chorus, you got your flanger, you got your pitch modulation, which is awesome. You've got your univibe chorus, your univibe vibrato, and then you have a phaser, a PH 100. And we will listen to all of these and have a little fun. Now, the other thing you've got here is you've got this really groovy switch here, this toggle switch that enables you to, depending on how you have this pedal connected to your rig, you can go either pre, parallel, or post. So it's very interesting, the things you can do with that. Let's see. I'm trying to do the best I can with the volume here. So guys, just bear with me, okay? On my voice here. I'm speaking at a pretty loud voice, and you know, just I'll do what I can, obviously. Anyway, okay, let's get to it. So we have our pre and our post here. So like it suggests, like the switch suggests, you've got three different mixing opportunities here. So pre means it'll put the modulation before the preamp, and parallel means that it will process it in parallel with the preamp, or you can have it go post preamp. Now, why am I saying all this? Because I am making use of the inputs and outputs here. I have it going into a 65 overdrive, which is above the pedal here. It's off camera. But essentially what's going on is I plug the guitar into the input here on the mod core. I take the send out. The send out here goes to the input of the 65 overdrive. The output of the 65 overdrive goes back to the return. And then out one goes to the pulse, which is what I'm using as my impulse response here. Now, why am I doing that? Because I'm effectively setting up an effects loop. That's it. And the trick is that when you do this, you not only get the ability to send the audio out pre or post, or the modulation effect pre or post preamp, but you can also process it in parallel. And when you do that, you can use the tweak knob as a blend parameter, which is very handy indeed. So without further ado, let's go ahead and throw on a guitar. So I've got my trusty dusty Steinberger here. This is the Spirit by Steinberger. I bought one of these on Zounds, and I have not regretted a single day since I got it. Although I do absolutely need to change the strings on it. But getting those double-sided strings, those double-tip strings, are a little difficult at times because sometimes they don't have them in stock. But okay, let's bring that up. Bring the guitar up a little bit. Okay, well, actually, it's coming from here first. So, okay, so what we're doing here, the setup is very simple. Here, what I've got is I've got the 65 overdrive going, being routed through the mod core, and then I'm using a pulse impulse response loader on the left here, with a little bit of space on it to introduce some reverb, some natural room reverb. And I'm using the Bassman 410 cabinet. So I'm trying to keep it as Fender as possible. That's good. Okay, anyway, let's go ahead and turn on the pedal. So here we go. Now I'm using picture back up there. Hi there. So I'm using the stereo chorus first. Now I can use the pre and post if I want to. So it's in pre, now it's in post. And I'm in the bridge position. Now I can use the blend knob to adjust the amount of modulation that I want to process. But if I'm in parallel mode, everything's being processed separately, the preamp and the modulation. So if I press and hold and turn on the alt mode, then I can make adjustments to the modulation from there. And this only works in parallel. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and go back to the beginning there, go ahead and tap back in, and I'm going to go back into pre-mode. I'm going to bring up a little more overdrive, a little more gain into the amp. Now let's have a little bit of fun with the other different types. Sorry, I keep hitting the camera there. The other different types of modulation. So this is the chorus ensemble. Let's give it a little depth. And it also has tap tempo, by the way. I didn't even mention that. Shame on me. You know, I'm actually going to put it post. Actually, I like it. Yeah, no, I like it in post. Okay, so let's go to the next one here, which is the SCF chorus. All right, let's go to the flanger. And this is where depth really hurts if you're not careful. All right, I promise, I keep trying to. Okay, let's go to the next one here. This is the pitch modulation. Now I sound like I'm kind of like wobbling a little bit, like I've had a few at the bar. Yeah, turn that. Let's turn the bass down on the preamp a little bit. Sure. All right, that's okay. We have to keep going here, guys, because we got 3 more pedals to go through. And I promised that I would try not to make these like 2.5 hour live streams. But here's the Univibe chorus. Now this one might sound a little better going pre. Maybe turning up that gain. I just love that. That is becoming one of my favorites. Now we're on the vibrato here, so I'll turn that vibrato up a bit, the depth. All right, that one's a little hard to take, you know. Definitely had a few too many. If audio starts to sound like that, you should probably call a designated driver or an Uber. Now here's the flanger, or the phaser. I'm sorry, the phaser. Okay, so you know if you got a phaser, you got to do the Floyd thing, right? I just love that thing. All right, great. So we have that. I want to switch on to the next one here because I just want to keep going. But I just want to mention a couple of things. First off, that one thing you can do with the Mod Core Deluxe Mark II is you can use this as a mono in, stereo out if you want to. So if you want to have, because somebody was asking about stereo earlier, if you want the audio, if you want the your mono guitar signal to go to 2 amps and get processed in a stereo environment, you can do that easily. But the way I'm using it here is I'm using it as an effects loop with the 65 overdrive. So that's just a little food for thought there. Hey Casey, how you doing, buddy? Okay, so let's go ahead and mute the guitar, and we're going to switch to ditch the headphones here for a second, and we're going to switch to the next one. So let me go ahead and go back to pedal switch mode. Here we are, pedal switch mode. I promise I'm not trying to sing, guys. I promise that. But it's just fun to do these. I missed not doing any of these live streams for a while, but it's just been so bloody busy lately that, getting things together for these live streams, it's a lot of work. If any of you out there do live streams yourselves, and you know what I'm talking about, it is not, it's not a ton of fun sometimes. There are days that are a little difficult, and well, enough said about that. But still, it does make things rather messy at times as far as time management goes. So I can't do these as often as I'd like to, but nevertheless, it is a lot of fun. So let's see. I'm gonna put the delay. We're doing the time core now, and I'm gonna put the time core after the preamp here. So I'm just making a couple of extra adjustments before I go to it. And there we go. All right. So can you guys see that okay? This is the Time Core Deluxe Mark II. The Time Core Deluxe Mark II is our brand new update to the original one, and we have put so much into it. It has stereo in, it has stereo out, so it's incredibly strong as far as what it can do. You can also use it in just straight mono in, mono out. That's no problem at all. You have your time, you have your mix, you have your amount of repeats, and there is also an alternate feature that I'm going to discuss here in a second. And most of our new pedals like this have 8 different types of delay, but this goes a step further because there's 7 different types of delay, and there's also a sound-on-sound phrase looper. So I'm talking about the space echo type of phrase looper. If you guys are familiar with the phrase with that at all, that's one of the standout features of the original space echo. Needed a little substance there. But in any case, that sound-on-sound phrase looper is here. It's a 40-second phrase looper. Now, as I mentioned before, it is stereo in and stereo out, which is fantastic. But what it also has is it has buffered bypass, it has true bypass, and it also has tone lock built into it. When you're in tone lock mode, it locks in all of the parameters where they're set, so when you play the gig, if you accidentally hit any of the knobs, it won't lose its place. Very handy indeed. And there's even one extra thing that wasn't mentioned in the manual, and I just found it totally by accident yesterday, which is the self-oscillation. So you have your tap tempo, so you can tap tempo your delay effect in, but you can also press and hold, and you can get a modulate. You can get a self-oscillation sound as well. So I'll show you what that's all about here in just a second. So what I'll do is grab my guitar again, bring that up, Now I heard somebody, I saw somebody asking about the Trident. Yes, I know. We need more content on the Trident, and I promise you that I have a whole series of videos planned for the Trident to get going on that because, frankly, we were pretty late in delivering that. So it just didn't feel like the right thing to do at the time. But now, since if you're here in the U.S., the Trident will be here in a matter of a couple of weeks. So the first batch came and went really fast. We blew through 100 of them before you could bat an eye. And next after that is plenty more. There's plenty more on the horizon. So we'll have them very, very soon. Okay, so let's get back to the time. Let's go back to the time core here. So I'm going to go ahead and get my guitar going here. Close enough. Okay, now what I also need to do is I need to kill the space on the space parameter on the pulse. The reason I'm doing that, I need to make it bone dry because when we get to the verb delay, you will want me to definitely you want to hear that. So anyway, we have 7 different types of delays. So the phi is the first one. Then the phi has that golden ratio second head on it, so you get kind of that tape echo digital delay sort of sound. So let's go ahead and have a little fun with this one. So I'll just... There we go. If you want to check out that self oscillation. What do you think of that? That's pretty cool, right? I love that. So let's go to the next one, which is the analog. This is the BBD delay. I could goof around with that all day. Now, let me show you what the true bypass and buffer bypass is all about. Because, you know, a lot of people talk about that. I hate to get all, oh, they talk about this stuff, you know, that kind of talk. But here's the thing. People always, you know, piss and moan about buffered bypass versus true bypass. It's one of those things that's like, tastes great, less filling, if you remember that slogan from the 80s. Whenever I get into one of those discussions with people, people are always like, oh, if it doesn't have true bypass on it, I don't care. Buffered bypass sounds like, you know, whatever. But here's the thing, kids. In true bypass, okay, what'll happen is when I turn off the pedal, you won't get any spillover after the fact. That's why you need buffered bypass. So what do I mean by that? Well, kids, here's what I mean. Right now I am in, let me turn up the repeat. Okay. All right. So here is the repeat. So if I play a note, and I turn off the pedal, you still get the spillover after the fact. Now, if I switch to buffered bypass, true bypass, sorry. If I turn it back on, and I turn it off, gone. Right? It's not that it doesn't have its place. Obviously it does. But at the same time, that's the really cool innovation of what we're offering here at NUX, because this is a $99 pedal. I mean, think about that. 99 bucks and you get that? It's pretty incredible stuff. Let's go to the mod delay here. Let me turn off the overdrive here a little bit on the gain on the amp. Let's tap in a better delay there. Now, we can adjust the modulation by going into alt mode and using the repeat knob and go back into it again, turn it back into alt mode, and take the modulation all the way back down. Sounds totally different. Okay, so there you go. That's the modulation. Now we have the tape echo. Now I love the tape. I love the tape echo. Yeah, now if you put some overdrive on it. I do love this one. It's a lot of fun. Okay, pan. Now this one you can't really hear too much because, well, obviously we're not working in stereo. So it doesn't have a lot going for it as far as this usage goes. So if you want to use it in stereo environment, really great. But this one's the verb. This is the verb delay. So Casey, if you like that, if you like those ambient sounds, here it is, man. Okay, so let's turn the repeat up a little bit. So this is a reverb and a delay. So if we press and hold the foot switch, we can go into alt mode, and then we can use the repeat knob to adjust the effect of the reverb. So nice cavernous reverb, and then just like a little bit. So we turn that up. So it's not as focused, you know? You're hearing more reverb than you are delay. So right Right about 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And there you have it. Okay, so there's that, and then of course, you know, hey, no delay pedal would be complete without a reverse, right? Let's go for a really, really slow. So smoke them if you got them, right? All right, now here comes the sound on sound. So I'll do this as a real quick one here. It's a 40-second phrase looper. So if I press once on sound, now hit the button again. Obviously not in the best of timing there, but you can switch to another delay at that point. Back to it again, double tap to stop, press and hold, and that'll erase it. So there you have it. That's the Timecore Deluxe. Leo, I've got no idea what that emoji is there, pal. I'm assuming it's a good one. Let's take a look there. Hi. Okay. Good. All right. Let's see. What else we got here? All right. We got people. Everybody's here, hanging out, having fun. If you guys have questions, this is the time to start asking them. So let me go ahead and take off the little guitar here again, because we're going to switch to the Verb Core. Now, I think the Timecore is, you know, delays are like water to me. I love having delays in my setup at home, which is of course here. But I just love the sound of this pedal. It's been so much fun to work with. So what I'll do now is switch to the next pedal, which is going to be the Verb Core. So let me go ahead and plug the Timecore back in. When I've shown these on the road over the last few trips, it's just been a real treat to get people's response to this, not just dealers, but also customers too, because they're coming in and checking this out, and they are just loving it. So it is a lot of fun to play with this. So let's go ahead and bring the Verb Core up. There we are. Hello. Yeah, that'll work. Where it is. Okay, I got a question here about Amp Academy Mini. Any plans to make one? Not at this time, but I never say never. But I didn't see anything on the roadmap that would suggest we have something like that coming. So hope that answers your question. My wife was kind enough to make me a power shake here so that I don't lose my mojo while I'm getting this done. Okay, now the Verb Core. Let's talk about the Verb Core Mark II. I don't even know why I call it the Mark II, because it's not actually a Mark II. We've never made a Mark I. This is the very first one. This is the Mark I. So we've never gotten past that. How about that? How about a flanger? Yes, there is a flanger back on the Mod Core Deluxe Mark II. Yes, there's the SCF flangers on there, and there's also a really awesome phaser too. So the Verb Core Deluxe Mark I. I keep wanting to say Mark II, but you know, whatever. It's live. It's Friday. Let's just go with it. We have our 8 different types of reverb. This is a stereo in, stereo out reverb, just like the Timecore was a stereo in, stereo out delay. But this can be used in either a mono or stereo fashion, which is fun. You have your 8 different types of reverb. So you've got room, you've got hall, you've got plate, you've got damp, you've got a shimmer. You have a spring reverb, which is really nice. It's got a really awesome drip to it. You have your tremolo verb and you have your modulation verb. So from there, you've got your tweak knob. Now the tweak knob performs a few different options there for you. And in fact, it's mostly works with either the tone or the liveliness or the shimmer or the tremolo or the modulation. Now, if you happen to get lost when you're doing that, hey, listen, how about that innovation, right? How's this for innovation? We actually tell you on the side of the pedal what each one does, when you're using the tweak knob, what it does on each reverb. So we do try to take the guesswork out of it. And of course it is on the website and it's in the manual too. So you have that option. Now each one of the reverbs has a freeze or shimmer function, and we call it, of course, hold for surprise, because that's our surprise, of course. And I'll show you what that's all about. And then we have true bypass, buffer, or actually, sorry, that's buffered bypass, true bypass, and again, tone lock, just like we had on the Timecore Deluxe. So I'm going to go back up to buffered bypass. Let's plug our guitar back in, and let's see what this reverb's all about. And then we'll get to the Loop Core stereo. I see a question about fuzz. You know, interestingly enough, we don't make a fuzz. Not at least one that's by itself in a pedal. We do have a fuzz on a lot of our multi-effects. So with our MG30, MG300, MG400, and with the Mighty Space, the Mighty Plug Pro, the Mighty Light BT Mark II, and the upcoming Mighty 8 BT. So here I am. Hello. Let me get my headphones back on. Don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. That's because I didn't unmute my wireless system. It's really clean, by the way. The mute and unmute, and then we can also go into cable tone mode as well. So again, I'm using the 65 overdrive as my preamp. I'm using a Pulse mini impulse response loader with a Bassman 410 cabinet to make it as Fender-like as possible. If I want to put reverb on it, a space on it, I can do that, but as we are working with the reverb, no need to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn that reverb on. Let's see, that decay, there it is. Ah, there we go. Okay, so we're right now we're on the room. So from here, I can use the tweak knob to adjust the tone of the reverb reflection. So it's dull, and you can bring it bright and make it brighter. Now, the freeze function is just simply pressing and holding it. Look, Ma, no hand. I love this effect. Okay, so there's that. I see your comment about the multi fuzz. I don't disagree with you at all on that observation. Here's the hall. Let's see if we can kill the gain on that preamp a little bit. Just make it a little more glassy. Let's move up to the neck pickup as well. That sound. Are you surprised? Because we're saying it's a surprise. I know. I'm gonna I'm gonna go to hell for making all the fun I make sometimes of our nomenclatures. So here's the plate. And what I'll do is I'm gonna actually pull the decay down a little bit, level back a little bit. There's the freeze. But let's turn up the. It's a little too much. Go back to the bridge. Probably if I hit the right chords, that might help, you know. See if we did a little bit more there, took off a little bit of the tweak. Now, I know Angus Young plays Marshalls, but I still like messing with that. The infinite freeze. So it is an infinite as long as you hold it down, but it doesn't layer on top of each other. For example, if I start playing, see I'm playing other notes? It's only freezing what it processed. So you can go on, you can play a little bit on top of that, so you can have a little fun where it doesn't sound like it's being mixed in a washing machine. Okay, so there's that one. Here's the damp. Pretty amazing when you think this is when you remember that this is a $99 reverb. I mean, look how much value you're getting for that. Interestingly enough, the freeze function actually exists in a lot of our pedals. For example, it's on the Trident, it's on the Atlantic, it's on the Damp, which is our little mini reverb pedal. So this isn't the only pedal that we make that does that. All right, but let's go to the shim because I know you got to hear that one. Now this is one where you definitely want to bring the level on that effect down. Let's bring the gain down and bring the level up on the amp. All right, there you go. Let's bring that tweak up a little bit. Yeah, I could just jam on that all day long, man. Okay, so the spring. I do, now there are, if there are reverbs that I am the most sensitive to, the spring reverb is absolutely one of those. Because I grew up on Fender amps, I grew up on a Sidekick reverb, two of them in fact, and they had amazing spring reverbs. Not emulated, but actual springs in the amp, and it just was so much fun to play. So go back to the bridge. Yeah, really get that Dick Dale sound. Maybe get a little bit more gain in there. Yep, I can play with that one all day. We have a tremolo reverb. See, in the tremolo reverb, even that has an infinite. Now in this case, the tweak knob. That affects the speed. Now again, if you switch to true bypass, you lose all of the spillover. Now there's certainly a place for that, but it's really nice when you can turn it off and there it is. So buffered bypass has its place, everybody. Now there is one thing I did forget to mention about the Time Core, but it's also here in the Verb Core Deluxe Mark II. The Verb Core Deluxe. Sorry, this is the Mark I. But this also has a kill drive function built into it. So that means it just processes complete wet signals. So if you're using it in, like, say, an effects loop on your amp, kill dry is what you probably would want to use. And to do that, to engage that, all you need to do is unplug the pedal, press and hold the foot switch as you plug it in, and it blinks green 3 times, which means that kill dry is engaged. So if I turn it on, and I bring the guitar back up, it gives you a totally different tone. But I'll go back to the way it was before. And bring it in. Okay, there we go. All right. Oop, okay. I'm making a little adjustment there. All right, let's bring the mod. Let's bring the mod core up. I mean the mod verb up. A little bit of nice modulation there, a little chorusing behind the reverb. So if you're doing, you know, new wave stuff. It's so much fun. Okay, now it's time to go ahead and let's move over to the, we're going to move over to the Loop Core Stereo. So I'm going to, let's see, mute my guitar real fast. And we're going to switch in just a second. But if you have questions, guys, keep bringing them up. I promise we will get to those questions. Gear Junkie says he's got 300 plus pedals and he really has to get more NUX. Ay, ay, ay. You have a lot of gear there, my friend. So let's go ahead and do this pedal switch thing. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Verb Core, the Loop Core Stereo really is going to require more than just one demo, because it really is quite a bit of pedal to get down. So when you're talking about things like MIDI and all the other functionality as well, there's a lot going for it. So it's quite an in-depth pedal. All right. There we go. Okay. Can you guys see that? That is the Loop Core Stereo. So the Loop Core Stereo is, as the name would suggest, is a stereo looper, stereo in, stereo out. So this isn't made just the just for the guitar players or the bass players. I mean, you can use this with synthesizers, you can use it with drum machines. We will eventually have MIDI clock sync built into this as well. It's not available quite just yet, but we are absolutely planning to put that in the very near future. It's something I've been advocating a lot for because it's a very important function, and I know that we need, since the Jam Man is basically gone at this point, we need a looper at this price point, at this feature set, to have that specific feature built into it. So it is something I'm looking into. But we will get to it. So anyway, this is a stereo looper. There's 6 hours of 24-bit audio available on the Loop Core stereo. It has 99 user memory slots. It has 50 different drum patterns built into it. It's got a tap tempo. It has this beautiful LCD display, as you can see here. This is miles ahead of where the original one was. It has MIDI functionality built in the back, and yes, we do include the MIDI adapter cable to go along with it. And it has what's called output splitting, which means that you could send the loop out one output, and there's cabinets. There's cabinet emulation on that output, and then you can send the drum patterns out a different output. So you can really create a cool A/B mix there. If you're using, like, say, a mixing board live, or if you're using, say, a PA system or something like that. So without playing any audio here first, it's very easy to use. You press it once to start recording. Now this is doing a tap. This is doing actually a count-in. So it's recording now, and you should be able to hear it. I know I can hear it. There it is. Okay, but it's very low. Let me turn on. I'm putting on my. Yep, there we go. Okay. So what I'll need to do here, just really quick, is probably go in and update the, change the outputs on this a little bit, because I think I had this switched on cabinet outputs here. So I'm going to go to the little gear icon here, and then I use the rotary encoder to navigate through the pedal. So what I want to do is go to signal, to the path, and right now it is set to split to mixer, but I want it to be stereo in and out. So I'm going to go ahead and select that and hit the gear icon again to get out to the top level. What I'll do also is one other thing here, which is the recording. I actually have it doing a pre-beat, but I wanted just to go instant, just so you can see very quickly what it does. So let's top out to the top menu here again. And you can see I still have the plastic on here because I'm just trying to keep it nice. Okay, well, I'm on the road. So start recording. You just press it once to start recording. Press it again, and now it starts playing it back. If you don't want that drum pattern, you can get rid of that. You can also change the pattern too. But you can see the LCD display here. It's recycling. Now, if you want to change the volume of your loop, you just use the rotary encoder, press it once, and you can change the loop level. Press it again, and you can change the drum level. Then hit the gear icon to go back out to the top. Now, on addition to that, if you want to overdub, press once to overdub. Press again to stop recording. If you don't like that, you can always just press and hold, and it will get rid of it. So very easy to use. All right. Now, if we go into, now we can also do tap tempo here. So if you turn on the tempo, you can also go here, and you can change the tap tempo if you want. Right? If you want to change the pattern or the sounds, just go in there and just press and hold. There you go. All right, so that'll work. So there's that. Now, if we go into the gear icon here, you can set your display. So if you want to change the brightness, you can do that. You can also change the boot up picture. So if you want to load in like your own GIF, like saying, "Hey man, what's going on?" You can totally do that. If you go to record, you have 3 different selections here. You have instant, you have detecting, where it's going to detect the audio signal before it starts recording, or if you just want to pre-count in. Now it does do tempo detection. So if you just play something in and you hope it's going to find the tempo of what you're doing, you can do that. Just don't go crazy. Like, don't start playing 7/4 or anything like that. It will not, or 7/8. It's not going to figure out what you're doing there. But do keep in mind. But you have detecting, and then you have pre-beat, which gives you a count in. And over here you have the overdub. So the overdub is, there's 2 different modes. There's record, play, dub, and there's record, dub, play. So I'll go ahead and, let's see, I'll go back in there and I will just go into record, dub, play. Okay. And then we have our stop mode, and we have a few different options here: immediate, one shot, loop end, and fade out. We have our path, which I showed you before. So you have stereo in and out, split in and out, and then you have split to mixer, which has that cabinet simulation that I was telling you about. And then you have headphone outputs, so you can use, because there's a headphone jack here on the side, which is very handy. And then this is a reset, which obviously we're not going to do that. But let's go ahead and top out to the top here. And what I'll do is let me grab my guitar again. But this is a far cry from the original Loop Core, which was a huge seller for us at the time. Last year, I was jonesing for another batch of Loop Cores because we were just out of stock on those things like immediately. And it was kind of a bummer, honestly. I mean, we had the Loop Core Deluxe, and that's actually, you know, for the $149 that is, it's a really great pedal, actually. Yeah, you know, just you do need to you know, take a look at this, because I think it's pretty awesome what it can do. Okay, so what I'll do in this case is I'm going to go here and I'm going to set my record to detecting, because I'm not in a position where I can just, you know, tap in with a foot. So I'm going to go to the top here, and I think what I'll do. Now you might be wondering why the reverb's on there. It's because I'm using the space knob on here. But maybe what I'll do is I'll just do this just so we can have a little fun. Oh, see, it's very sensitive. Okay, so double tap to stop, press again, and there you go. Okay, so now it's going to start playing. Here we go. We want to change the volume of that. Press. No problem. Now if we want to bring the drums in. Now, as I said, it does its best to detect what you're playing. But if you don't play in tempo, you know, it won't do that for you. So what I find is really great here is this pre-beat. Just makes things so easy for me, because I can just go to the top and just like, okay, here we go. So let's go ahead and do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's overdubbing again. That's the overdub thing. I'll have to reset that again. Now, if you want to say overdub, now I don't like that, so I'll press hold. Got rid of that. Seamless. Let's say I want that back though. Press and hold again. So press and, you know, long press once it's stopped, and it'll erase everything. So let's go back over there to the dub, and let's change that back to the other mode there. But that's what it's all about, guys. I mean, there's a lot we can talk about with the Loop Core stereo, but everybody's used. I hope most people on this live stream have probably used a looper plenty of times in the past. But I think the thing about this that's really great is that it's got that cabinet splitting feature. So what I'm going to do is go over here and set that up. So split to mixer. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm going to set these back. I'm going to set this pedal back up on the floor on the bottom there, and we're going to dig into it. But let me just show you a couple things here really fast before we do that. So let me go ahead and mute my guitar, and let's unplug this real quick so you can see what's going on. All right, so here on the back we have a USB port so you can load your own samples in if you want to. You can also back up your samples. It just sees it like a flash drive when you plug it in. You have your MIDI port here, and we do include that MIDI adapter. And then you have your headphone output here. You have your outputs. You have your inputs, and that's it. You know, and that's the really cool thing about that particular pedal. It's a lot of fun to work with. I mean, loopers in general are just a ton of fun to work with. But having 6 hours of recording time, having that stereo in and out, there's really very few, especially when you think about the fact that it's 119 bucks. Nobody does that for 119 bucks. So in any case, there you have it. Let me go ahead and get my headphones off here for a second and unplug my guitar again. And before we get into it, if there are questions, of course, please feel free to say something. I see a lot of action out there. Got several people watching right now, and I will go back through the whole list of questions and answer them as best I can when we get to that point. So for right now, let me go ahead and go back into pedal switching screen here, so I can take my Loop Core. So we won't be using the 65 overdrive anymore at this point. Everything's just going to be on the floor. All right. Okay, so now if we go and look down, okay, everything is there. So we've got our metal core. We've got our mod core, we have our time core, there we go. And then we have our, oh, that's what it is, okay. Go back to the phi, there we go. All right, we have our Verb Core. I was on sound still on the time core, so that's why I was kind of curious what that was all about. But what I'm going to do now is go ahead and throw on my guitar again. You know what I really should do is at some point just like do this with kind of a prepared piece of music. But I do enjoy just improvising and just playing a few chords for grins here. So, all right, now we've got our guitar should be, oh, well, we do need to actually put, we do actually, you know, need to put the transmitter, the receiver where it needs to be. In this case, I've got it actually in a volume pedal off to the side here that you can't see. And there's a reason for that, because if I turn on the, let's bring the everything back. Okay, so now, okay, so there we go. So let me turn off the modulation there. There we go. Now the reason I have it that way, and I'll actually turn the reverb on, but I think what we'll do is we'll go for a hall. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so if I turn on the metalcore now. Okay, a little loud. So I'm going to turn that down just a touch. But I'm not using the impulse response. Actually I'm going to switch to the Friedman 2 there. There we go. Okay, so explaining it really quick what I'm doing here, all right? So in this case here, I am using the metal core with the impulse response section bypassed, and then that is going to the loop core. The loop core has a cabinet emulation on the output there when you're using split routing. So that way I can still get a pretty full cabinet sound, and I like the way it sounds. It's pretty cool. It definitely gives you another opportunity to do something. But then from there we could add, you know, like the modulation if we wanted to. And I think in that case we're going to probably use I'll use a yeah, all right, that'll work. Yeah, right, there we go. Okay, so I like the way it sounds. Now I use the volume pedal because when I'm layering samples, when I'm layering loops, okay, and I'm creating a loop, people kind of do that the wrong way because, and it's just, again, there's no right way or wrong way, but I typically don't like play everything at like full volume when I'm recording a loop in, especially if I'm using something like delay or something like that. I'll typically pull back the volume. Something like that. So it's not quite as loud as it can get. And that way I have some room to play with it. So what I can do is just go ahead and let's find a okay, so I'm going to use that drum loop. I'm going to use that drum loop, that drum pattern, and I'm going to do a couple of quick loops, and let's see what happens, okay? So it's going to give me a count in. So here we go. Now, we're listening to that, and maybe we don't like the way that drum beat goes. Maybe we want to try a different drum beat. No problem. That's about. Okay, so now let's go ahead and record, say, an overdub. And we'll put a little bit of no, let's do modulation. So, all right. Okay. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm having some trouble with that light over there. And I think the issue here, yeah, the issue we're having right now is I have that noise gate is messing with me a little bit. So what I can do is just go down here and actually not disengage it, but just don't make it so tight. There we go. So if I play this back now, let's go ahead and let's just go from square one again on this one. Okay, so let's do it again. 2, 3, 4. Okay, maybe I should have done that the right way. Okay, 3, 4. That's what I'll do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and overdub. Here we go. Now what we'll do is let's go ahead and tap a tempo out here on the delay. Don't want to do something that interferes too much. That's what I'll do, something like that. Okay, here we go. And that just gives me a little bit of room now to solo if I want to do something over it. Now if you want to do something, mix it a little bit more, you can always adjust the loop volume, and then you can start overdubbing. You can start playing over that as well. All right, so I'll go ahead and just erase that. But that's what it's all about as far as the Loop Core stereo goes. Now there's so much more you can do, and as I've said, I'm going to do a whole series of videos that talks about every little thing that it does. But that's essentially what the new core pedals are all about here. So let me just get rid of things here for a second. So the core pedals are just, for lack of a better word, just completely phenomenal. They are so much fun to play with. And if you have any questions about it, let me know during the stream here. We'll take questions for a little while here, and then we'll sign off for the day. But I'll be following this up with a whole bunch of things about the Loop Core specifically, and we'll focus in on each one of the pedals too in individual videos that'll be on the NUX channel. But on top of that, I know a lot of people are asking about the Trident, and I promise that I have a full-on plan for video stuff for the Trident, or video tutorials for the Trident. So I will show you what that's all about in the very near future. So I promise. Anyway, okay, so let's take a look at some of those questions. Let's go back and have a look-see. Okay, so let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm actually going all the way up to the top here, and I'll just start answering the questions as I see them. Now, unfortunately, I can't call them out like I normally do. Normally, I'll select it and it'll just pop up. Unfortunately, I don't have that ability to do that here today. But let's just go ahead and make sure everything's looking good. So if you have questions, this is the time to start answering it. As a funny side note, I was thinking about finding one of those David Pumpkins costumes and using that for the next live stream, because it is going to be Halloween pretty soon. So I don't know if I can honestly pull off a David Pumpkins impression, but if you guys haven't seen that skit on Saturday Night Live, sketch, definitely watch it on YouTube. There was 2 parts to it, and it is you think you watch this and you're thinking, I am watching the dumbest thing in the world right now. I'm actually losing brain cells because I'm watching this. And you don't want to tell yourself that because it's Tom Hanks and you're thinking, okay, there's literally nothing bad that guy can do. And then you get to it, and then you're like, oh my God, it's so bad, it's so bad, it's bad. Boom! And there's this huge joke at the end. It's just hilarious. Casey's asking a quick question here. Is the Loop Core available? Yes, it is. It is available. We have been shipping it for a while. We sold through our first batch very quickly. The second batch will be arriving soon, but there are dealers across the country that do have it in stock right now. So yes, you can get it. All right, let's go to them questions. Okay, so let's see what we got. JTB, I have the NUX Mighty Plug Pro coming today from Amazon. Good, I hope you enjoy it. That is a really great headphone amp, as you guys already know that. Let's see, do some videos on the Loop Core Deluxe. You know, I didn't really do any videos on the Loop Core Deluxe, to be perfectly honest. But we probably need to start looking at that in the near future because, well, just because. I mean, it makes more sense for us to, it probably makes more sense for us to start differentiating the differences between the Loop Core Stereo and the Loop Core Deluxe, because people are undoubtedly going to ask. And of course, the question is going to come up, is the Loop Core Deluxe still worth it? Absolutely. Absolutely. There are things that the Loop Core Stereo does that maybe you don't want in a looper. Maybe it's a little bit above, you know, your station, and you're just like, I just want a looper that's just going to work when I turn it on. And they all do it, but you know, having that foot switch included with the Loop Core Deluxe is really cool. Now, if you want to do that with the Loop Core Stereo, you certainly can, but you have to do it via MIDI. Okay, so in my case, I've got an Ampero control down here, and I've programmed it so it can do a lot of those things. But again, not everybody is going to want to do that. I realize that. So sometimes the Loop Core Deluxe absolutely serves its purpose. It's still a very popular pedal for us. Fancy lights. Yes, I did put some new fancy lights in here. So I'll even show you what we can do. So check this out, guys. By the way, I'm wearing a little bit of nostalgia today. Digidesign. Does anybody remember Digidesign? You know, before they became Avid? I mean, they were already Avid anyway, but Digidesign was just one of the brands. But I love these lights, so I can change the colors so easily. You know, we can get blue. It's a blue Christmas, but you know, it's Halloween is coming up, so of course we need to go back to, say, the orange. Maybe the red would look a little better here. A little bit of the, you know, possessions. But of course, it also does syncing. So if I want to really screw with people, check this out. So if I get very quiet, I'm going to have so much fun with this over time. I do need to move them over a little bit because the camera angle doesn't quite work there. Oh, you like my cap? Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Somebody said I looked like a NASCAR. I look like I worked for NASCAR. You know what? Actually, let me go back to the solid colors. That is getting a little wanky. Somebody said, I think it was Amico, said I looked like I belonged in NASCAR because I had a NUX shirt on and I had my NUX hat on, and it was like, I'm driving for Team NUX today. But no, I don't work for NASCAR. But anyway, here we go. Let's see. All right, new fancy lights. Volume is fine. Okay, good. I'm just going down the list here, guys. So if there's no questions, we'll wrap it up quick here. But I think, okay. All right. Okay, it seems like the Mod Core does not have stereo in. Okay, Christopher Butler asked this question earlier. It seems like the Mod Core does not have stereo in. That's correct. It does not have stereo in. It is a mono in, stereo out pedal. So that's the story there. Let's see what else there is. Okay, Sean Piers Johnson. Oh, Sean, I didn't see that you were the guy who wrote that. Okay, yeah, I know. This Trident is what you're waiting for. I know, Sean. Don't worry. I'll get you some. I'll give you some Trident tutorials before too long, my friend. We'll get there. I promise. Oh, Gear Junkie really like the metalcore. I like it too. I really do. I think it's just a ton of fun. I'm normally just an overdrive guy. Normally I don't go from 0 to 60, but sometimes the metal core just really serves a wonderful purpose. So see, Casey seemed to like that as well. Great. Okay, bet this thing is stellar into an effects loop when bypassing the IRs. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Okay. Okay, Quicksilver is asking a question about modulation pedals for the Verdugo series. Currently right now, I don't know of any modulation pedals that are on the way out for the moment. So maybe that will be different, but I have looked at the roadmap for the last several months now. I haven't seen anything yet, but that doesn't mean that we don't have something planned. Sometimes I'm the last person to know those things. So I will say that we do have a lot of plans in the future for new products. I probably shouldn't even do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. All right, because I'm a giver. So this is something that's coming very soon, boys and girls. Our new wireless system, the B8. We're not even supposed to be talking about it yet, but I figured, hey, you know what? Why not? Because people are going to know about it very soon anyway. But that's going to be something I'll be covering in a future video, in a future series of videos for that matter, because it's going to be really cool. But again, that's something I'll talk about later. Okay. Let's see. Does the mod core allow stereo through it, meaning before past the stereo signal? No, that doesn't. It doesn't, Chris. The stereo is very lush. Okay. Let's see. I'm just going through here and looking through here. Okay. Jay Sear asked about a module. Asked about a Amp Academy Mini, and I know I answered that earlier, but no, there are no plans at this time to do an Amp Academy Mini yet. But you never know. There might be a reason to do it. However, I will say this. Okay, I will say this. Because, you know, there always are ways around all of that. This is actually an extremely underrated gem of a pedal. This is the Pulse Mini IR loader that we make. It is fantastic. And it's got acoustic impulse responses. It's got electric guitar impulse responses. I mean, amp impulse responses in that case. And it's got bass amp impulse responses built into it. So you could plug in any overdrive pedal you want. Like for example, in our setup today, I was using the 65 overdrive, which is a Fender black panel. And I was going right into this pedal straight from there. So in essence, it was kind of like an Amp Academy in that regard. Now, not all of the things are like it, but still, it's pretty neat to know that you could take any preamp pedal, you could go into the Pulse, and you could just simply select what you want. So you have a jazz chorus, you have a Bassman, you have a Vox, you have a Greenback 412, you've got a Vintage 412, and then you've got all those all the bass amp impulse responses, or the bass cab impulse responses, and you got the acoustic impulse responses. And those are even cooler because if you play electric and you want it to sound like an acoustic, that'll do it. So that might be kind of an interesting option to get around that. So, okay, then Aunt Massey asked about fuzz. No, we don't have a fuzz pedal right now, but it's definitely not the first time I've heard that request. Let's see what else. Infinite freeze. Okay, I've answered that one already. I'll just go here. I like that new looper. Loop core is available now. Yes. When you're going to topic. Okay, so Kaimo and Rachel. Pardon me if I mispronounce your name. Was asking when are you going to topic the Optima Air? Well, yeah, that's a good question. I've already done a few videos on the Optima Air on the Pedal Guy YouTube channel, and I took that video in fact, I did, I think, 2 videos on that, and I took people right through that all the way to the end. So, and I also did a comparison video between that and the Stageman floor, because a lot of people wanted to know what are the differences between the Optima Air and the Stageman floor. And the Stageman floor is fantastic, but the Optima Air is a different beast entirely because it has those impulse responses that you can load into it. And I'll tell you one thing that is the selling point of it. And this is, you know, not everybody is a pro audio guy, right? Not everybody's into pro audio. And I get that. But the 1073 is an emulation of that classic Neve preamp. Honestly, and that's on the Optima Air, and honestly, that's worth the price of admission by itself because it's lush. It really is warm and wonderful to listen to when you put the right guitar through it. When I put my Martin through it, it just sounds amazing. And that reverb is just, it's wonderful. There's a very well-known singer. I won't mention names. I don't like to name drop, especially on videos, but there's a very famous 90s singer that uses the Optima Air in his live rig. He's actually now going to start using the Trident in his live rig too. I got to meet him last month, and it was the absolute thrill of my life. You know how they say never meet your heroes? I met him, and I was just like, okay, this guy's awesome, and we still chat a lot, and it's utterly fantastic. Okay, so Herman, I have no idea what you're saying there, pal. So, okay. Okay, whatever that is all about. So let's see. What are the questions do we have? So you are the pedal guy. Yes, I am. That is what I do, what I did. I still do pedal guy videos. I just haven't done any in a really long time. Mainly because I've just been so bloody busy here. And NUX has just been on the go constantly. And we are a very small group here in the United States. There's literally 3 people here. Well, 4 people if you count our warehouse guy. But we have, it's myself, it's our intrepid leader, we have a sales admin, and then there's a warehouse person. That's literally it. And then on top of that, I've got independent reps across the country. So that is it. So when you're doing that 9 to 5, you know, doing videos at the end of the day is kind of hard to do, but not impossible. It's just that I've been looking for that next thing to start talking about. So pedals are so important to me, obviously, because I work here. But I used and sold these products long before, as the pedal guy, long before I started working here. So I am a testament to the fact that these are really great products, because I vetted everything before it came into the pedal guy, because it's my company. So I had to do the right thing and do my due diligence and make sure it was great. Now I will say this year's been fantastic because as far as our dealer outreach in the United States, because we're at every Guitar Center across the country. We're in hundreds of independent dealers across the country as well. And those independent dealers are so very, very important. And I truly appreciate everything that they do for us. And they are just avid fans of everything that we put out. I've been on the road a couple of times now this year. I've been a little reluctant to get back out there, mainly because of personal reasons, but just because, well, obviously also COVID is a bit of a concern for me. But I don't want to get it again. It wasn't fun. But other circumstances as well prevented me from really going out on the road at all. But I had to do a couple of trips this year. So I've been to the Pacific Northwest. I've been up to the Bay Area. I just got back from Utah last week. Next week I'm going to Boston for a few days to hit some of the dealers around there and go shake hands and kiss babies. And then I'm going to do a trip to Denver after that. And that probably will be the last I'll do for the year. And then next year I'll be hitting the road hard and heavy. But we have a really big booth planned for NAMM in 2024. It's going to be a 30 by 30 booth. And I think it's going to be a huge show this year, because the 2023 NAMM was actually a lot more busy than I thought it would be. And it was a good show, though. A lot of fun. Yeah, that's all I'll say about it. I mean, there's other things I could say about it too, but no reason to. Cool, so I'll watch your review on the Optima Air. Yeah, go for it. In fact, I actually, on the pedal guy side of things, I'm actually doing my very first paid review for a guitar company, a Chinese manufacturer. that sells only on Amazon, not Donner. No, don't worry, I wouldn't give Donner the time of day. But this is a company called Fesley, and they make these really great little beginner guitars. And it's nuts. I opened this thing up, and I didn't think it was going to be that great. And then I was just totally floored by how versatile it is, and keeping in mind that it's $129 with free shipping in the United States. I mean, how can you honestly pass that up, right? It's a hell of a guitar. But I'll be doing a review for that in the very near future. I'm also doing a series of videos for our NUX channel called Get to Know NUX, which are just 1-minute videos that talk about the products. Not a whole bunch of extra stuff, just real basic. Hey, what do I need to know about this product? What are the vital features? What are the vital specifications that would turn me on to buy this product? So that's what we're doing there. But anyway, that is yeah, that's pretty much it. All right. So I don't see any other questions, but let me just review one quick thing with you really quick, okay? So that you guys know the price points on these pedals. Because I didn't really talk about it. I tend not to talk too much about prices on these videos just because I don't want to, just sometimes prices will be a little different from country to country, and you just want to be a little careful about those kind of things, okay? So anyway, the Metal Core Deluxe Mark II is $79. So keep in mind those 3 amps, 3 cabinets, and all those other features, $79. The Mod Core, Time Core, and Verb Core are all $99 each. And those are a lot of fun. And then, of course, the Loop Core Stereo, which I did final, and that was the final demo, and that is $119. So that's one of the things about the brand that keeps me coming back, is that it's got that versatility, it's got all of that innovation, but at the end of the day, it's incredible value for the money. Honestly, you have to be a schnook not to think that's a good deal. Anyway, I think that's about it, guys. I don't think there's really much more that I can do at this point to talk about the products that I've got here with me today. But I will be switching gears and going to the Trident again very, very shortly, because I've gotten a lot of people asking, for in-depth content on the Trident. I certainly want to do that for everybody. We have other products coming soon. I gave you a little teaser of what I got there, the new wireless product that's coming. There's going to be a video on that. We have the Mighty 8 BT Mark II coming. That is a fantastic amp. And there are other products too. There are other products too that may surprise you. But we might hold all of those off until NAMM. Who knows? I don't know. We'll have to see. But the time between October 1 and December 31st, so much stuff happens here at the company. And I just want to say thanks to everybody for sticking with us and being such great advocates for the brand and just being big fans of the brand. That's why we keep doing this. It really is why we keep doing it. Okay? So anyway, unless there are any last minute questions, which I don't see any coming in, I'm just going to go ahead and... okay, well, you're... okay, I see what's going on here. You snuck one in. So what are your new pedals from NUX? Well, you'll have to watch the playback, but we did the new core pedals. So the Metal Core Deluxe Mark II, the Mod Core Mark II, the Verb Core Mark II, the Time Core Mark II, the Verb Core Mark I, and the Loop Core Stereo. That's what we covered today. So be sure to jump back through the replay and watch all of that. And with that being said, I want to thank everybody for being here today. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to hang out with me and check out these really awesome pedals. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out and we will try to answer them as quickly as possible. But until next time, thanks so much and have a great day.